The following is a Just Green production brought to you by the Might Be News Network.
What's up, everybody? It's the week of March 2nd, 2020. My name is Taylor Cooper. With me, as always, Kevin Reevy. What's up, Reevy?
Super Tuesday. Don't really know what it means, though.
What's up, CJ?
How's it going?
This is Might Be Sports at the Might Be News Network. Go to mbnnetwork.com. It's never been easier for you to find your new favorite podcast. We're sponsored by eunomiacbd.com. Go to eunomiacbd.com. Use promo code MBN. Get 20% off your whole order, plus free stuff and free shipping. It's really a great deal. We're also on YouTube. If you're not watching us, go to YouTube, search for MBN Network, subscribe, turn on your notifications. No matter where you're at, leave us a review.
YouTube.com, that's our website.
YouTube.com, MBN Network. Go find us.
Pretty cool.
So,
it is Tuesday today. What is it Super Tuesday? I keep hearing that.
It is indeed Super Tuesday.
So tomorrow, do we have the results, the score from Super Tuesday?
Yeah,
you should have them tonight.
So people watching this now, it's tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
So you'll know the score.
You'll know
of a Super Tuesday.
You'll know who won.
Pretty cool.
You'll know who won.
Who do you think is going to win?
I think Bernie Sanders is going to win.
Okay, I think that's a good idea.
I do.
I think that's a good answer. I don't really know.
I mean,
Biden or Bernie? Who's going to come out with more delegates?
It's between the two of them.
I'm way in over my head already.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Bernie.
But this isn't might be politics. This isn't might be news. This is might be sports.
Might be sports. That's why we put the might be in there, though.
It's cooked into the. We can get away with anything when you put might be.
You can, it leaves the door wide open.
We should do a cooking show someday. People think they're getting sports, and we'll do. You know, I hate that. By the way, I hate when podcasts do recipes. I just skip right through it.
Oh yeah, because you can't do anything about it.
You can't see it, or like there's no satisfaction. It's just people, making chewing noises. Which is the best part, honestly, of cooking shows, is when people do the chewing noises. So, okay, there's that part. That's great.
No, when people are gagging because it's made horribly. And
I can't stand it. That ASMR stuff, I can't do it. Like when you hear people eating and stuff, can't do it. It creeps me out.
Pretty bad.
Creeps me out.
So what are we talking about today?
Well, it's going to be a short episode. We're going to shoot for 30-minute episodes. Unless we have guests, unless we have, a bunch of stuff going on. But right now, it's just basketball, hockey, and spring training. So we're just going to kind of, nobody's watching the XFL.
And I have a sports story
I'm
later.
betting money on that every week.
Are you really?
I have a good, quick sports story.
Do you?
Yeah, it's going to be good. You're going to enjoy this one.
Have you watched any of the XFL? At all?
The first game.
Yeah.
The first series of games.
Like that first weekend? Because what is it? Is it on Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah.
All the time? That wasn't just week one? That's like
No, yeah, it's all the time.
Well, it's kind of funny that, you got the XFL, which is kind of trying to, move in on the NFL's business. That's kind of what my sports story is all about, if you want me to jump right into it.
Jump right in.
Let's do it.
Do it. Just jump right in.
All right, we don't have a sounder yet for it.
No, we don't.
We used to have the Reevy's Rants.
Yeah.
So we're going to replace that with sports stories, I think. The idea of the sports story is that, I tell a story that I don't think CJ or Taylor quite know about or don't know the details of, and maybe the listening audience doesn't know either.
I love it.
And I try to tie it into what's going on right now in sports and, maybe kind of like a This Day in History. Maybe the segment sponsored by This Day in Philadelphia Sports, a fine book written by Brian Startari and Kevin Reevy.
I love it.
Anyway, let's just, as Philip DeFranco says, let's just jump right into it. You ever hear of the World Series of Pro Football?
No.
We know the Super Bowl.
Wasn't that the
There was
AFL's or
not exactly. Not exactly. This was dubbed the World Series of Pro Football. It didn't happen on this date in history, but this week back in 1950, the AAFC merged with the NFL. And for a short period of time, they didn't merge at that time. They decided, you know what? We're going to be the NFL. They were kind of like the National Association Football League, and it was just too many words. They said, you know what? We're just going to be the NFL because the upstart, kind of like the XFL, but actually a very legitimate league at the time, the AAFC.
Yeah.
was, mooching in on the NFL's territory. They had good teams. They had the Cleveland Browns, 49ers. They had the original Baltimore Colts. But the Browns were a great team. The Browns had won the previous 4 AAFC championships. I believe they only lost 4 games in those 4 years.
Can you imagine the Browns winning championships?
Right. It's a different time.
Yeah.
It
was a different world back then.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard of Otto Graham. That was their star quarterback. And so at that same time, the Eagles had won. The Eagles were the dominant team in the NFL at the time.
Okay.
And so both these teams are coming in, and people are saying, like, these are maybe the two greatest teams that pro football has ever seen. So you got the 48 and 49 champions in the Eagles, in the NFL. Previous 2 years, the Browns won in their league. So people are thinking they're already starting to come up with this like Super Bowl kind of idea, but they weren't there yet. That would be a decade plus later. So the NFL's thinking, fans are thinking these two teams got to play each other. And the NFL's they're just trying to make their way. The AAFC is doing well, but really nobody's really killing it. And they're kind of like cannibalizing each other as far as fans go. Nobody knows exactly which league to jump on. The NFL is doing a little bit better, but if you're killing it, or at least just doing well as a league, you've got legitimacy in the NFL. Why would you have your best team go against their best team and potentially lose? And then it's like, shit. Everybody's going to go over and watch that league. Right. They got the best teams.
Right.
So it was kind of if you can't beat them, join them kind of thing. So right around 1950, actually at 1950, not right around, 1950, they joined forces and they said, you know what? It won't be a Super Bowl. It won't be a championship between leagues. We're the same league now. First game of the season, Eagles are playing the Browns. And writers deemed it the World Series of pro football.
Wow.
Now, it wasn't a playoff game, wasn't, anything like that, but it was big. And long story short, Browns kicked the Eagles' ass. That's what they were worried about before. But now that they're part of the same league, it was actually the best outcome. Because now fans can get excited about this new team, the Browns, coming in. And the Browns just continued to dominate. Let me get some stats here. The Eagles kind of went in the wrong direction after that. They did not have a good 1950 season. But let's see. They joined, the Browns joined in 1950, and they played in the next 6 championship games.
Wow.
And 8 of 9.
God.
They won 3 NFL championships from 1950 to 1955. So it's crazy. It's the thing about that. It could have went, if they had decided to do a Super Bowl way back then, the NFL might not be around right now. They might have jumped to the other league. Maybe they have more of a standing at that point. The NFL caves to them. Not that it really matters, whatever the hell it would have been called, but there you have it.
Because whatever it would have been more or less what it is now.
Right, and here's something to think about. So at the time, the NFL commissioner was Bert Bell. He used to own the Eagles about 10 years prior to that. So you got to wonder, Bert Bell never wanted to do a Super Bowl, a quote-unquote Super Bowl. He probably nobody knew the Eagles more than Bert Bell probably. And he probably thought, I see what the Browns are doing over there, and I'm a little worried they're going to kick my Eagles' ass.
Yeah.
So he just tried his best to prevent that game from happening. But again, once they joined forces, made sense. It was good for the league. And you could call that maybe like the first unofficial Super Bowl. But definitely the World Series of pro football.
Very interesting.
For what it's worth.
Very interesting. Good job.
It's a sports story for you.
What I don't understand about the XFL is that it failed miserably the first time.
Right.
And I just don't see.
It doesn't seem like it's going to work.
I just don't see that they're enough.
I'd love to watch
10
it, but
years, 10 plus years later, I just don't see the reason for it. I don't even remember when, what year specifically the XFL came around the first time. And it only lasted a season.
Yeah,
right?
It went bankrupt after a season.
And it's probably going to do the same thing again, I would assume.
Nah, there's enough money it's guaranteed 3 seasons.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe it'll catch on by then, but I just don't see it.
Well, what I was thinking was, my interest in Survivor, and my girlfriend currently, she's real big into The Bachelor. Mm-hmm. And I can kind of get on board with that. I can kind of watch. I wouldn't watch it if she wasn't watching it, but I can get on board with the contest aspect of that. If they had a reality component to this XFL, maybe it would work.
Right.
But then you're just adding more programming to a concept that might fail. But if you could somehow have like, you know, a reality show on Tuesdays and Thursdays between games that give you an insight into what's going on behind the scenes in these players' lives, you know, put it out on HBO or something. I don't know.
I don't think the ratings are that bad though. It's 1.6 million for Saturday and 1.4.
See, I thought I saw something like it's been in decline for like 2 or 3 weeks straight.
Yeah,
like,
it's in decline, but it's still doing okay. The last weeks were 1.
But it's just going down pretty steady.
And look at it this way: NFL does 14.2 on a Sunday.
Yeah,
but how many games are going on?
Right. What I've seen of it, which hasn't been much, it's just it's as simple as it's just not as good of a product. You're clearly watching subpar players compared to the NFL. You realize that immediately, and it's no disrespect to any of these players. They all train super hard. They all work really hard to be where they are, and props to them. But you as a fan, you can turn it on and within 30 seconds realize that, well, this isn't really what I wanted. You know what I mean? Like if football is life, if you can't get away from it, if you don't want any time off, I get it. Go for it. But it's just, I don't know.
If they could find a way to make it into a minor league for the NFL, I see that making more sense, because then you'd expand rosters. You wouldn't want your first few round draft picks playing in that league. You wouldn't want to lose them to injury. But if you expand the draft, if you expand rosters and allow teams to have lesser players on these, it would be interesting. It would be kind of like a minor league system in Major League Baseball, but not quite as many. Well, not quite as just one level.
Yeah.
So if you could just expand the rosters to allow you to build an extra team there, that might make sense. But can you sustain, 30 of those teams? I don't know.
What if, would you be supportive of doing something like they do in soccer in Europe, I guess, where like the last place team? No. I wouldn't support. Okay, well, that's the answer to that question. But would you support an exhibition? Not like necessarily switch. Like the worst team goes to the XFL, the best team in the XFL goes to the NFL. Like, do away with that, I'm saying. But like, what if you did, like at the end of the season, what if you did like an exhibition game?
That would be amazing.
That'd be cool.
But
what rules
they'd never
they
go
use?
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
and the XFL team would never be good enough. Maybe like an XFL. Oh, I would love an idea.
Just be like a crossover event.
So it's like we were just talking about with the AAF, whatever the hell it was called, in the NFL. If they didn't want to do a Super Bowl, they didn't want to do even an exhibition because they were afraid of, the optics, how it would look. I don't know if you could even do, if the NFL would even be interested in doing a combo game with the XFL, because it gives the XFL legitimacy.
Right.
And that's the thing. Way back
then,
they
don't really want that. Yeah.
60 years ago, the NFL, they made it the company line to whenever anybody in the media brought up the other league, their line was supposed to be no comment. They're not even allowed to talk about the other league, pretend it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I think the NFL would kind of do the same thing. They're not going to, put a gag order on guys, but I think for sure they're not going to be interested in doing an exhibition. But what would be interesting is having like a rule where like now the Jaguars just play overseas in perpetuity because their attendance sucks and they are a horrible team. So if you could do something like that where maybe the worst team in the league has to play the XFL All-Stars, that could be cool.
That'd be cool, yeah.
But they would never go for it because that would legitimize the XFL.
So almost like in order for the XFL to succeed, almost it has to almost be consumed by the NFL.
They'd have to partner with them.
Yeah. So like if the NFL, like you said, were to almost buy them out with the intent of making them a minor league, right? Like, because there really isn't a minor league. You get, baseball, you get sent down If you're injured, if you're not doing well, whatever. Basketball, it's the G League. You don't send these NFL players back to college. You know what I mean? So, like, I guess arena football. And my next question about it would be, like, if there was a Philadelphia team, would you support them? Would you gain interest in it?
Yeah, I think Philly
Definitely.
has a reputation for that.
But do you follow the soul? Do you?
No, but they have a strong following. As far as
They do. They do have.
they
a strong
were
following.
one of the only sustainable franchises in the old system, and I believe is it gone now? I think the Arena Leagues did it fold again.
I think they stopped business operations.
Yeah, something
That they're not done, but they're not operating.
Because currently, I
on
know
their way out.
they're operated, or they were operated. This last iteration they had, it's like owned and operated by the league. It's no longer an independent franchise thing. When the last time it was an independent franchise, they were very profitable, and they were basically outspending everyone else. They were signing guys to $1 million contracts.
Right.
Guys were making money.
I'd be interested if they had a Philly team, and I've heard rumors that it's at least being talked about.
They are going to expand. They said.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't say where. But so now, since they put the league together after like the draft season and all that, so they grabbed players from practice squads and a couple other places. Do you think the league will improve next year when they get those guys that didn't get picked up in the NFL draft but still want to play football before they give up the dream? Like,
Yeah, I suppose. So, like, I see what you're saying. So, like, as it goes, they're going to get younger talent involved. They're going to get,
Because, I mean, a lot of these people that are playing are practice squad people that they lured away from NFL practice squads.
Right. So, if you get some actual, like, young kids in there, talented, fresh out of college, The problem with that is that, like, I mean, there's a lot. How many people get drafted on draft day? More than 500, right?
We got 7 rounds.
It's a lot.
No, it would be it would 7 rounds times like 30.
So I mean,
You got a little over 200.
200.
people
Okay,
people drafted.
yeah. What was I thinking? Anyway, but like, you're still going to the bottom of the barrel at that point.
Did you hear how bad Taylor is at math?
Oh, I'm horrible at math.
You just thought we wouldn't even mention it.
Thought we'd just move
But we
on.
noticed. And they noticed too.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know math. I don't do simple maths very good.
Well, all right. So yearly average is 3,500 people enter the NFL draft.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that is crazy. That's a lot of people.
You could expand that and do, I don't know, it's one of the,
Because
I think
I mean, if you're only taking a couple hundred out of that, then
Yeah.
you've got a good amount of people that you could scoop into you're working, but the NFL has to connect to it somehow, right? Because like in order for these guys to really have any hope of a future,
Well, it would be
in
these,
the NFL, I mean,
so it would be these guys that, all right, just missed out in the draft for the NFL, could sign XFL based on their intention of trying to get a big NFL contract.
yeah.
But that would still raise the caliber of the
Could
XFL.
could you void a contract in the NFL or the XFL to go play in the NFL?
I'm sure that they
Because if you did it, if they connected and the XFL per se was just like a farm system, it could almost be used that way.
I don't think it ever will be, but there's always that stipulation to buy your contract out.
Right.
Like, look at it this way: Army and Navy players, if they're good enough to go, the NFL there's a set price that they can pay the U.S. government to buy them out of their enlistment.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I
Yeah.
imagine I've seen a lot of contracts that you can buy your contract out.
Right.
here's another idea just to throw out there. Like WNBA is supported by the NBA, and it's not really, as its own entity, it's not profitable enough to survive on its own.
Right.
So, I mean, the NBA makes a ton of money. They're able to do that and keep that alive.
Is it the same thing with the
NFL could do the
ladies
same
league for the Major League Soccer? Is that the same thing? Like, do they do the same thing?
Those are separate.
Okay.
It's all governed under FIFA.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They're not exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
Maybe you're right, like under FIFA or U.S. soccer or something like that, maybe.
Well,
Because there's international players there, but like it's a.
Well, FIFA is the governing body, even like when you MLS, that's governed under FIFA. All the European leagues, and even when you get into the World Cups, that's all governed under FIFA.
So maybe what the NFL needs to do is just make a global coalition.
Well, what I'm saying is
they've been saying that's their goal. They want to be like FIFA,
do.
but you can't have people endure football like they do with soccer.
It's true. If they want to give every team their minor league in the XFL or whatever, you don't need every one of these minor league teams to be profitable. The NFL could just reach in their back pocket and finance that. That can be done.
Right.
If it becomes part of creating a better product overall, that's a good investment. And then the good part about that is that, hey, maybe some of these teams could actually turn a profit, and it makes sense for the NFL to do it because it's just one more thing to generate income.
Right.
So, I mean, and along those lines, this might make me a homer, but, just kind of, put a end on this whole point for me. If the Arena League is over and the Philadelphia Soul name could be bought out or used for a minor league in the XFL, that alone, I think Philly would be one of the most popular teams in the league because the Soul is so well supported.
Right. It's recognizable, and yeah.
It was when they started off in the Arena League, it was one of, I think, I forget what year it was, 2005, 2008, whatever it was.
Dude, they were trashing people.
They had on their website, I remember back then, whenever it was, they had the top 10 greatest things to ever happen to arena football. And somewhere in that top 5 was just the creation of the Philadelphia Soul. The entire history of the Arena Football League. That's how important that team was to the league. If you could figure out a way to get that into the XFL, and I don't know if you want to start with, maybe you go Philadelphia Stars. That was the old, whatever it was. What was that? Maybe the USFL team, I think it was back then.
Yeah.
Maybe that would work.
Yeah.
But one of those like recognizable names that you could use to bring Philly into the fold and help the league get along. But again, none of it works unless you tie it in with the NFL, I don't think.
I agree. Let's do some clickbait. What do you got, Craig?
Hold on 1 second. Novak's calling. All right. Nashville Predators invite tornado victims to arena. We love you.
Yeah, really crazy stuff down there with the tornadoes, and that's a very cool thing.
I like people that don't get victimized by tornadoes. They're better. All right? These weak people. I don't know. I was channeling Trump there for a second. I've been thinking about Trump and the delegate Tuesday today, all day today. I'm going to tie every one of these things to Trump and the election. What do you got next?
Do it.
Jockey Richard Gamiz dies after being trampled by horse at Arizona
I like
racetrack.
jockeys that don't get killed by their horses, okay? Those are my favorite jockeys. This guy's awful. Must be a terrible jockey.
That whole story just sounds like a hoax by the Democrats.
The worst.
NBA players get tips to dodge coronavirus, fist bumps over handshakes.
Speaking of hoaxes by the Democrats.
If you can dodge a coronavirus, you can dodge a ball. Dodgeball.
Cubs, Anthony Rizzo trolls Astros in mic'd up at bat. Someone bang for me.
This is going to get so old so fast.
Dude, it is.
You know what? It might not get old. It might be a lot of fun. But right now, they're wasting all the good stuff for spring training.
Right.
If they had any idea, just hold off. Don't waste it all.
Well, I
Save
wonder,
it.
and we kind of talked about it last week, but I wonder if there's going to be some major crackdowns by the time that the season actually rolls around. For like stuff like that. Just taunting, whatever. I don't know.
Tampa Bay Rays prospect terrifyingly hit in the face with a foul ball.
I like prospects that don't get hit in the face with the ball. I don't know. This is getting old.
The people that sit behind the net, you mean?
Real old, real quick. You know how I feel about those nets. I don't know. You ever feel like you have an opinion on something and you think you might be wrong, so you just keep digging and thinking like, no, wait, how can I be right? I can still be right. I can still be right. I'll keep working on this. I can still be right. I'm getting there with the nets.
With the nets.
But I'm still right. I think I'm still there. We'll see.
Ex-Astros pitcher willing to return World Series ring crushed by scandal.
Who is this? Does it say who it is?
Ken Gillis?
Somebody who barely pitched.
Ken Giles. So he's all right. That's not surprising. I mean, they hated him over there. Like they really hated him in Houston. He used to pitch for the Phillies. He was dominant. Really, he was one of those 100-mile-an-hour flamethrower guys, and he just wasn't very good in his time in Houston for the most part. And they just booted him from the closer role. And he's, of course, it's him because he doesn't like Houston all that much. And now he had a really good year for Toronto, and yeah, it makes sense. He's not with the team, and the team hates him. So,
yeah, I don't know. I can't even. I don't know.
And the last one, NCAA urged to hold fanless March Madness over coronavirus scare.
that's going to be so sad. It's one of the greatest days
What is
of
it?
the year.
What are
Is
you talking
Thursday.
March Madness, no fans.
Potentially having no fans. And it would be really interesting to have, for me to burp into the microphone just now. I held it back.
You did a great
For you
job.
guys.
I saw you.
No, to have a game where there's no fans. But could we have one fan? Like one, like,
Sitting in the middle.
remember that guy for the ESPN, the SB commercials?
Yeah.
It was,
I think I know what you're talking about.
he used to host, not Double Dare, but Global Guts. Mike O'Malley.
Yeah. Okay.
Mike O'Malley, Global Guts. Let's go to the judge. What do you got on the long shot? Let's go to Mo. Mo. I know 3% of people know what I'm talking about, but Mo. Remember, and then Mo would come on and she'd be like, he scored a jump of 6.8 feet, 3 inches.
What are we even talking about?
Mike O'Malley, Global Guts. No, I want him to
The
be
one fan.
the one fan in the stands.
So
for the
wait
whole
a second.
thing
So wait a second.
With
Wait,
like
wait.
the foam fingers for both teams.
They're talking about having nobody in there
Yes.
Yeah,
in the
because
stadium
of coronavirus.
because of coronavirus.
Yes.
What about
As
a
in-
1-seat buffer? For
As
every
in, they
person?
just won't sell tickets for the shit.
Correct. They would play in an empty arena.
Is it that serious?
No, it's not.
I knew you were going to say that.
Of course, it's
I'll
not.
take my chances.
How did a virus get political? By the way, this is crazy. We are insane. Everything's political. We talked a lot of politics on this show.
We did.
and it's all my fault.
It is. That's okay.
That was not the intention.
It might be.
And
It might be your fault.
we
It might
have.
be sports. It might be your fault.
It is bad timing because it does seem like the coronavirus is going to get bigger. I mean, it's going to be under control, but those things just spread.
Yeah.
It's like the flu. It just spreads. You can't really control it. They'll have it under control. People won't be dying, but the flu's not a lot of fun.
No.
So people are going to have that. You can't really have that spreading around a whole stadium. If it takes down March Madness, though, that's not
Come
cool.
on. That's the second serious real world effect I've heard about in the last couple days.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
What's the other real world effect?
Novak broke his phone, so he needed a new one. And the iPhones are back ordered because of the coronavirus in the factory.
There's worries that the Summer Olympics will be canceled because of it.
They're talking about doing empty arenas for that, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's go to the week and get out of here.
Might Be Sports presents the greatest of all time.
Of the week, my clear cut go to the week this week is Shake Milton from the Philadelphia 76ers. He tied the NBA record with 13 consecutive three-pointers made. He put up a career high 39 points on Sunday against the LA Clippers in LA. The Sixers almost won that game. But Shake Milton was a huge bright spot for that team, putting up 39 points, followed by Tobias Harris's 25. But Shake Milton was in the G League not that long ago. And I think it's really a cool story for him. Bright spot for the Sixers right now, who desperately need something like that going on. They definitely need a shooter, and 13 in a row doesn't sound that bad. If he can keep it up, that's a big deal. And clear cut. I mean, good for this guy. He got some major spotlight. I saw him on ESPN getting interviewed. I saw him, I think he was on The Jump or something, So good for him. Like I said, going from the G League up to this and automatically rookie season in the NBA, doing this is great for him. So, Shake Milton, go to the week.
All right, well, I'm going to go against brand a little bit here, and I'm going to say my go to the week is the Philadelphia Flyers media guy who put up there on the board the other day that the Flyers goalie protects his home better than Kevin McAllister. That's a solid line.
That's a solid line.
That's great. Love that. I was going to pick the Flyers as a whole because they won 6 in a row and they're 1 point back. So close to jumping on that bandwagon, but they're not in first yet. The playoffs haven't started, so hockey still sucks. But their media guy, great line. Love that. Kevin McAllister, home alone. And I'll support Kevin's all day long. Kevin's got to stick together.
That's right. Well, you guys did a great job this week. Fantastic, as always. The sports stories, I really like that. I'm going to get that sounder done for you, I promise, eventually. But go to eunomiacbd.com. We're sponsored by Eunomia. Go there, eunomiacbd.com. Use promo code MBN. Get 20% off your order, free shipping, and free shit. We're on YouTube. Go check us out, mbnnetwork.com. We got links to all these things on our website. Check out our shop as well.
YouTube.com. That's ours website. Go to there.
We'll see you guys next week. CJ, great job. Breevy, awesome. See you guys next time.